and this is what I wish Ian was around for. Maybe we'll talk about it again next week. Warner Brothers has released their DC superhero movie lineup up to like 2020. So, what's interesting about this is that, I mean, it's not pity for Warner Brothers at this point, but it's like, you're just going about it the wrong way. If you had taken this, we spoke about this before, Ian and I, about if you had taken the slow burn, which Marvel did, to build up, not just build up goodwill and faith with the fan base, with the movie audience, but find your way creatively, find your way as a production team. Take 4 or 5 good movies or solid movies to build to that huge Justice League movie, as like Marvel did, doing 4 or 5 movies to build to the Avengers. You had Thor, Captain America, Iron Man 1 and 2. Now, I'm not a fan of Iron Man 2, but it's not a bad movie. It's just not good. Incredible Hulk, which is the forgotten one because Edward Norton's not around anymore. That was a good movie. And then you finally build. You take these films. You take 4+ years, 5 production years, really, to build to a huge Avengers film that then did freaking huge. And after that, the goodwill carried on with Captain America 2 and then Thor 2, which was, I think, it was okay. It wasn't one of the stronger Marvel films, but I enjoyed watching it. And then you have, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy, which is them, Marvel's just saying, we're going to try to do whatever we want, and hopefully it works, and if we can do this, we can do everything. And guess what? It worked. Now you're going to have Captain America 3, you're going to have Ant-Man next year, you're going to have a freaking Doctor Strange movie announced. A Doctor Strange movie, really? But the point is that Marvel Studios can do this, because the Marvel Studios product is a good one. It makes money, it entertains, it's critically acclaimed. That Marvel Studios product is established. They had a plan, Marvel, that wasn't, let's rush into this. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers, the past 6 years, has done nothing on the sideline, while Marvel has just said, we're going to smash this. So, I mean, people bring up the Dark Knight movies. Those are not DC movies. Those are Christopher Nolan movies utilizing the Batman character. That might sound idiotic to say, but when you look at those movies, they are not traditional Batman stories. They are these larger-than-life sort of tales with some social sort of message put in there. And they have no connection, most importantly, to these DC movies that are coming out. None. They recast Batman as Ben Affleck. The storyline-wise will have nothing to do with it. Nothing to do with those 3 huge films. So those are not, to me, DC movies because of that. And then you have like the Green Lantern film that everyone forgets about because it was totally forgettable. So that has nothing again to do with this. Let alone the Jonah Hex movie that bombed. What was it? The only other DC movie that's come out in 6 years. You had 2 Christopher Nolan Dark Knight movies. You had Jonah Hex and Green Lantern. That's it. That's it. Now, Warner Brothers is doing great. They're doing great when it comes to TV. Smallville was critically acclaimed. It was on for 10 years. You have the Green Arrow shows going into its 3rd season. That's supposed to be pretty good. The Flash show just came out, which has an excellent cast. I really like to look into it. Ian and I disagree. But that's been, people said that's pretty good so far. So I'm not sure what the disconnect is here. Creatively, I guess the production teams are totally different. I don't know. But this is what's going on. So you had your you had your Superman reboot, Man of Steel, which came out. Was that already 2 years ago? Was that 2012 already? Or no, it was 2013. I think that was last year it came out. So after that, they're like, all right, it did okay. It didn't do fantastic worldwide. It didn't do Avengers business. So, I mean, they're going to now fast track to a Justice League movie. And I think it's dangerous to do something like this. I just think it is. Especially since the first movie, they're not even going to have they're not even going to have a Batman standalone movie. Again, you can't count those 3 Batman movies that came out. Those are not standalones. The new Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, coming out in 2016, is going to be basically the it's going to be the Justice League build-up movie, because it's rumored that you're going to have Aquaman show up, and Wonder Woman's is Gal Gadot. She's going to be there. And you're going to have Batman. You might have a couple other guys. You might have Cyborg show up. And you're going to have a Flash maybe show up who's not even going to be the TV show Flash. That's a whole other conversation. So that's going to come out in 2016. Then you're going to have a Suicide Squad movie, which is going to be 2016. Now, the Suicide Squad is not a well-known entity at all. At all. Now, the Suicide Squad, I believe, and this is from my just knowledge, not even looking up, I think this is a team that goes after like rogue superheroes and supervillains and tries to take them out. Like non-superpowered people going after like superheroes and supervillains to keep them in line. That's a cool idea. Really cool idea. In a comic book, I'm not sure people are going to be interested in seeing that as a movie. I don't know if that's going to have the appeal of a Guardians of the Galaxy, which again was 6 years after Marvel started making these movies. So people are like, wow, this is going to be a cool Marvel movie, but in space with this sort of over-the-top humor. I don't know if that's going to work since, again, they haven't built up that cachet yet with these DC movies. And then you're going to have, in 2017, this to me is strange, but they're going to do this. They're going to do in May 26, 2017, a Wonder Woman solo film. That's going to be June 23rd. And then later in November, you're going to have Justice League Part 1. So let's just get this straight. So you're going to have Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice, which is going to introduce no Superman sequel, because we don't trust Superman to carry his own films now anymore. So you're going to have that movie introduce Wonder Woman, probably a Green Lantern of sorts, a Flash, a Cyborg guy, as I call him, an Aquaman, and the new Batman. So you're not going to have a new Batman movie with this new Batman as the Affleck Batman. So we're going to have a Suicide Squad movie in 2016. Then next year, a Wonder Woman movie by herself to lead into the Justice League movie. All right, at least they're trying then to do that. But I would have been a lot more confident, instead of doing a Batman versus Superman movie, why couldn't they have done a Green Lantern movie and a Wonder Woman movie and a Flash movie? And even give me 3 movies. Give me 3, and just like in Marvel did, give me 3 or 4, and then throw in maybe a second Superman movie, and then do a Justice League movie. Not do this half-assed Dawn of Justice, Justice League Light movie, and then go into it with one movie in between. Suicide Squad, no one gives it. Suicide Squad, I don't know if that's going to factor in. That's a strange-ass choice that, the more I look at it, I'm not sure it's going to even be produced. So you're going to have Justice League Part 1 and Wonder Woman 2017. And then 2018, you're going to get Aquaman, which I guess will be spun off from the Justice League Part 1. Who knows how Aquaman's going to do? Personally, I don't know if the character can carry a whole film. I believe it's going to be Jason Momoa. There you go. He just played the updated Conan a couple years ago. And then you're going to have in 2019, Shazam, which is Captain Marvel. Did they change the name officially? Some comic book person tell me they changed the name from Captain Marvel officially to Shazam. Starring, they already cast The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, as Black Adam, who's the villain. It's very strange that they would cast a movie not going to come out for 5 years. So they're not going to produce a movie for 4 years, but we're already casting the villain. Way out. You see how strange it is how they're already getting this far out, not feeling their way through it, as Marvel kind of did. And then Justice League Part 2 in 2019. So the Part 1s and Part 2s will be 2 years apart, as opposed to Avengers 1 and 2, which were three years apart. Then 2020, you're going to get Cyborg starring Ray Fisher, so I guess he might show up. And that's also a reboot of Green Lantern, all the way in 2020. Ryan Reynolds, thanks for playing. So when Marvel's, back in 2006, when Marvel first came out with their idea of Marvel Studios, or decided, you know what, we have these characters, why farm them out to everyone? Let's make the movies ourselves. We know the characters will make the most money. We just got to put together a studio. They didn't have that much set in stone. I remember seeing a poster with all these release dates, and the only one that actually I think came to fruition was Iron Man was 2007 or 2008 was Iron Man. Then there was a Punisher movie in there, and that came out as Warzone, which was critically panned. Which why you haven't seen Punisher again. He might show up for probably the Daredevil Netflix series. And then you had Incredible Hulk was on there. You had Iron Fist on there, which obviously never happened. I think you had Doctor Strange on there. And then you had, I think, an Avengers kind of off in the future, but they weren't sure when. But it was very vague, and they didn't stick with it. And they sure as hell didn't start casting movies that were 4 years out. before establishing it in baby steps again. This may come off as a mini rant, but I don't care. They have to make me a believer first here, Warner Brothers, with this plan. They have to make me a believer, because the problem here is that by having a crossover film really first in the line of like these like what is this, like 7 or 8 films that they have lined up here, 7 superhero films. By doing it first, the risk is much higher. Versus, you see, when you have like these little Iron Man, which was critically a success, and then you have Thor, which was successful, and Captain America, but not as much, but still successful. The risk is smaller because you're if one of those individual ones fail, it's like, okay, that one character, maybe the fans don't like him as much as Iron Man, Thor, but he's still a part of it, and we'll still feature him in the Avengers team up. And then you have an Iron Man 2 in there, which didn't do, at least critically as well, and I didn't like it, but it's okay, it's on the way. Here, the crossover's first, and you're introducing all these characters together. So if this doesn't do well, if people hate Affleck as Batman, or just don't get this concept of Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa there, and then having this new Green Lantern, and then Cyborg guy and Flash, if they don't get the idea right away, you're screwed. You can't go reverse. You can't go from a team-up movie where you're introducing everyone, and then all of a sudden, if we don't glom on or like those portrayals or characters, you can't go from a Cyborg character in a movie, like, who the hell cares, to a Cyborg movie. It's not going to work like that. The audience will be gone or not interested by that point. You have to do it in the reverse direction to make it work, which Marvel Studios has shown that's the way to go. So I'm not going to harp on it that much longer. I just disagree with this sort of way. I would have just done the same slow burn. Have an Aquaman. If you want to do an Aquaman movie, fine, do it. Do Wonder Woman. Reboot Green Lantern, for God's sake. Do it. It's already been like 4 or 5 years since the last one has. It been 4 years about? Was that 2010? Do 3 or 4 individual films. Do a Batman individual film. Let the audience know who this Batman is in terms of the tone, and these are going to be totally different in terms of tone than the Christopher Nolan films. Do that separate Batman film. Do them separately. Do 4 or 5. Hell, come out 2 or 3 a year. I don't care. Come out like 2 in 2015, 3 in 2017, and then do your Justice League movie in 2018 without rushing it with the Batman vs Superman crossover to try to build up to it, and then even getting then to the Justice League part 1 before even establishing all these other characters. So maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But yeah, that's it. I mean, seriously, a Suicide Squad movie and a Cyborg movie. All right.